Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing Y&T Contagious, their 1987 album. Now, this is an album that's perhaps not a fan favorite, not necessarily critically acclaimed. In fact, it does get in Martin Popoff's Collector's Guide to Heavy Metal 0 out of 10. So it actually could also fit the category of 0 out of 10. But I still like it. I've done a couple of shows like that about albums that have been given 0 out of 10, but actually I quite like the album. And of course, I love Martin Popoff's books and his reviews and his writing. But from time to time, I definitely have different opinion. And I know my opinion as far as Contagious is concerned is not necessarily the normal opinion or the majority, because Y&T Contagious is actually my favorite Y&T album. Now, of course, most people sort of know Y&T from their albums that they put out on A&M Records. For a lot of people, that's where their classic releases are. So, I've got all those, and I like those albums as well. But I've got this is a really good collection. This is called Y&T Anthology. So it's basically it's two LPs. Compilation of the songs they put out when they were with A&M Records. It's really good. Of course, they started out as Yesterday and Today back in the mid-70s, and then they shortened their name to Y&T. And if you're interested in more the history of the band, they've got a fantastic documentary. Go check that out. It covers the band right from the start up till sort of recent times. Of course, it's only Dave Meniketti. I think he's the only surviving member of the original lineup. Go check out that documentary. Really good. A good profile of the band and everything. But I'm going to just mainly focus today on the album Contagious. Do a track by track breakdown of the album. As you already know, I really like the album. And I'm going to sort of talk about some of the songs on that album. Now, just a little bit of background too of my history with Y&T. The first album I ever heard was actually this one here, Y&T In Rock We Trust. And, I didn't start getting into hard rock or metal until around about 86, 87. So I'm not exactly sure when I heard this, but I thought it was good. Not great, I thought it was good. But then when I heard Contagious, which is obviously, for those who know, Contagious is a different sound to the one In Rock We Trust. Now, before In Rock We Trust, they had this album, Down for the Count, and they're actually starting to get a little bit more commercial, definitely on this album as well. Even also their image is starting to change. You can see here, not the greatest look for the band here, but you can see they're starting to embrace a lot of those sort of hair metal looks. But this is actually their final album on A&M Records. Although they did have a bit of a hit here with Summertime Girls. So they leave and they go to Geffen. And, Geffen, when you think about it, they had a bit of a reputation around 87, 86, in the mid-80s, of taking bands and sort of changing them a little, trying to maybe get them to be a little bit more commercial image, bringing in songwriters, that sort of stuff. And they definitely did do that with Y&T. So, they've done it with Aerosmith. They did it with Whitesnake. There's two bands that come to mind. And, I think they definitely did it with Y&T. So, different sound, slightly more commercial sound, more... Definitely a Bon Jovi type of sound on this album. So this is the album Contagious. Hugh Syme did the album cover. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. And you can see the back cover there. I think a much better look for the band. Yeah, they've still got that sort of hair metal look, but they look better, a lot better. So like someone's actually, I don't know quite what was happening. Here it's almost like they just decided to put on whatever they could find that looked a little bit glam. But here it's just, you feel like someone's helped them and actually said, guys, this is what you need to put on. And they all look a lot better on this one. But anyway, we're mainly going to focus on the music, right? So, yeah, Contagious, released in 1987, their first album on Geffen. The image has changed a little bit. Sounds changing a little bit as well, and they're also bringing in some outside songwriters, which I'm not sure if they've really done too much before. So this is actually, Contagious is actually their 8th studio album. So they've been around for a while. Like I said, Yesterday and Today is their name originally, and that came out, their albums came out in the mid-70s. So they've been around for a while. And actually this is also the first album since their debut to not feature Leonard Hayes. So Leonard Hayes has been replaced by Jimmy DeGrasso on drums. So let's talk about the first song. So the first song is the first single, and it's the title track, Contagious. I love this song. It's very Bon Jovi, definitely. Taylor Rhodes has a co-write credit on this one, and he features on a few songs on this album. With Dave Medichetti also songwriting credit for this one. Yeah, I mean, lyrically, I can understand people being a little bit critical. It's got, let's get dangerous, it's contagious, lots of haze, hey and woes. But yeah, it's, I think it's really catchy. It's got a good riff, and there's a music video for it as well. And yeah, I think it's a good choice as the first single, and a good way to kick off the album. Now the next song, LA Rocks, which when I heard it, I thought they probably really should have called it Boys Night Out, because that's the main part of the chorus. And actually what I found out is it actually was originally called Boys Night Out, but David Geffen said, no, we're going to change it to LA Rocks, because Sammy Hagar, got the album here, Sammy Hagar had an album coming out also on Geffen, and it had a song, here it is, this one here, and it had a song called Boys Night Out, different song, but it was called Boys Night Out. And I don't know, for whatever reason, David Geffen said we don't want two of our albums coming out with the song Boys Night Out on it, so they had to change it to LA Rocks. But there are supposedly 30,000 pressings of Contagious that have LA Rocks. The song is listed as Boys Night Out. So there we go. As for the song, yeah, it's fairly generic. I didn't, when I first heard this song, I thought, that's not so good. Not as good as Contagious, the previous song. But I don't mind it. I'd say this one's less Bon Jovi, and actually sounding a little bit more Van Halen on that one. But yeah, not bad. Next song, Temptation. Yeah, really love this song. Sort of mid-tempo song. Some people might call it like a power ballad, but I don't. I don't think it's a ballad. In fact, I don't think this album actually has a real true ballad. But yeah, mid-tempo, really nice guitar work, and there's lots of great guitar work on this album, I think. Now, this is actually written by Phil Kennemore, Al Pitrelli, and Bruno Ravel from Danger Danger. And you can actually hear the Danger Danger version on their Rare Cuts album, which came out, I think, around 2003. So, yeah, I think originally demoed for potentially a Danger Danger album. Then it was given to Y&T. But, of course, yeah, Phil Kennemore also doing the writing on it as well. Yeah, really good song. Next song, fourth song on side one, Kid Goes Crazy. Yeah, I'm not crazy about this one. And I have to say, if all the songs were like this, I also would have given it 0 out of 10. So, yeah, to put it nicely, it's filler. But I think actually it just would have been better to have not had that song on the album. Fight for Your Life, though, is a fantastic way to finish side one. Really good song. I love this one. It starts mid-tempo, some really nice tasty guitar work, and then this big riff kicks in and it rocks pretty hard for the remainder of the song. I like the lyrics to this one. I can imagine it being a really good soundtrack song. So yeah, Fight for Your Life, really good song, really love it. One of my favorites from the album. So kicking off side two, we've got Armed and Dangerous. Yeah, but slightly generic lyrics. I mean, lyrically, this album's not the best, but a good song. Yeah, it's got more it's got that when the song starts, it actually starts with the chorus. So she's armed and dangerous. It's kind of how it starts, and then the riff comes in, which is something a lot of hard rock bands were kind of starting to do around this time, is sort of becoming popular. And yeah, it's quite effective, I think. And not a bad way to start off side two. Then we've got Rhythm or Not. It's a little forgettable, catchy chorus. Again, lyrically, yeah, not great. And it's 5 minutes long, which I think is probably about 2 minutes too long. If they just shorten that down a little bit, it wouldn't have minded so much. So yeah, not so great. But next song is is Bodily Harm. Now this is a bit better, but it's actually not written by anyone from Y&T. So this is credited to a guy called Robert White Johnson and Taylor Rhodes as well as a songwriter here. So yeah, and they've got the woes, the woes, whoa, sort of thing happening here again, which I think Taylor Rhodes liked to do. In fact, if you listen to songs that he's had a co-writing credit for, often it'll have that sort of thing in it. It's okay. It's very commercial. I sort of feel like Y&T don't need outside songwriters, or at least they don't need someone to write all this, the whole song for them. Maybe to help them out is not so bad, but yeah. So no one from Y&T credited for the song. Although I will say that it is Robert White Johnson and Taylor Rhodes who are credited for this song Bodily Harm. They are also the writers of the song Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which is the first single off their next album, 10. And that's a good song, actually. I did quite like that one. So I guess maybe it wasn't a bad idea to have them write songs for them. But this one, it's okay. It's all right. Now, fourth song on side 2, Eyes of a Stranger. Yeah, really love this song. So the best song on side 2. Great vocals here, I think, from Dave Meniketti. And it's a bit of a hidden gem, I think, this song, and sort of tucked away at the end of the album. I would have liked that further up. I think it's a really good song. So that's track 4, and then the last song on the album is "I'll Cry for You," which is a guitar instrumental, which is fine. I'm not sure who's doing the guitar work because it's credited to Joey Alves and Dave Meniketti, so they both play guitar on the album. So maybe it's a combination of them, but it's only like a couple minutes long, guitar instrumental. So it's a fine way to finish the album. But I guess in some ways, with it being an instrumental, there's only really 9 songs on the album. One of them, Kid Goes Crazy, of course, is one that I personally would have just not had on the album. So yeah, and there's some other filler as well, but all in all, some really good songs on here. So I think Contagious, Temptation, Fight for Your Life, Eyes of a Stranger, and Armed and Dangerous, they're probably the 5 go-to songs for this album. But yeah, I really like those songs. So I know when an album's good because I find I'm still getting it out and playing it and enjoying it. And this is one of those albums. I still get it out, got it out today, played it, still enjoyed it. All the songs that I've talked about that I really like, I still like them. So really good album. And yeah, probably a bit of a surprise, I guess, for some people that it's my favorite Y&T album. Maybe I need to spend a bit more time on their older albums. Like I've heard them, I've got them, but for me, and maybe it's just when I heard this is my go-to Y&T. Now, after this one, it wasn't a massive success. It got to 78 on the US Billboard charts, which, obviously is a bit of a disappointment, really. They do release another album on Geffen in 1990. It's called 10. And yeah, basically that's that after that for a while. Like I said, they had Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, I think, the one music video for that song. But, not long after that, of course, bands with this type of sound pretty much, not getting much attention. In fact, I think their next album, they call themselves Musically Incorrect or something like that, which I don't have, but I've heard it's not a bad album, but musically irrelevant or something like that, where they're just almost commenting on the fact that they're not relevant anymore. But which it's great though. They've hung in there, they've survived, and well, obviously, like I said, some of the members are not with us anymore, but Dave is still keeping the band going, and maybe they haven't had a new album out for a while, but I think with Dave still in the band, I think it's still relevant for them to potentially put out new material, but we'll have to wait and see. But So there we go. So that is my summary of Y&T and Contagious, my favorite Y&T album. Hope you found that interesting. Make sure you hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite Y&T album, or what do you think of Contagious? Yeah, love to know your thoughts. Okay, that's it for now. We'll catch you later. See ya.